Whenever one starts doing music workshops, the musicians just come out of the woodwork. So I'd like to welcome Andrew, please. What are you playing, Andrew?
It's called a kahoo, and every church needs one.
Oh, there we go. All right. There we go. We're going to start this section with, as I said, an unashamedly new Australian song by Heather Price. Heather Price is a member of the Adamstown congregation, and if you'd like any of her music, and she has a whole album of Christmas songs, which are just delightful, you contact the Adamstown Uniting Church because she's gifted her resources to the Adamstown Uniting Church. Thank you, Andrew. There's a video before, the slide before, I think.
Christmas in Australia, the beach, the bush, the heath. No holly, snow or mistletoe, just grass beneath your feet. Bright light fills our southern sky, just like that blazing Christmas star. Big and shining in the dark to spread God's news afar. Child in the stable, among the cows and sheep, sent to teach us how to live. Jesus, Prince of Peace, tailing friends and family, picnics in the sun. Love and care for those in need, like Mary's precious son. Christmas in Australia, the beach, the bush, the heath. No holly, snow or mistletoe, just grass beneath your feet. Bright light fills our southern sky, just like that blazing Christmas star. Big and shining in the dark to spread God's news afar. Home to many different ways, take another's day. Sacred learn to think of so, our ancient white brown land. The true spirit of Christmas lives within your heart. For we are all God's children, loved right from the start. Christmas in Australia, the beach, the bush, the heath. No holly, snow or mistletoe, just grass beneath your feet. Bright light fills our southern sky, just like that blazing Christmas star. Big and shining in the dark to spread God's news afar. Big and shining in the dark to spread God's news afar.
So was it because you didn't like the song, or was it because it was a video that you all did not engage, or you've just had lunch and you're just not terribly energised? Pardon? She's got a gorgeous voice, hasn't she? Absolutely, absolutely. Well, this is another song by her. It's called Seed of Hope, and it reimagines the Christmas tree. So let me see if you think this song works. So I'm going to invite you to stand as you are able. Just let me find the music, because I don't know this one very well. So just hum, unless you know this song. Perhaps not. Come on, everybody up. Oh. right, we'll from the top.
Seed of hope planted on this fragile earth, your love is strong to shelter me, oh ever-present Christmas tree. Must to tread lightly, Lord, upon your sacred earth. Our lives, our future, yours and mine, are living, breathing fine. Open wide our eyes, O Lord, to all that needs our care. The air we breathe, the ocean deep, protect and safely keep. Jesus, seed of hope, planted from this fragile earth, your branches strong to shelter me, oh ever-present Christmas tree. Teach us how to listen, Lord, to heartbeat of your word. No anger, hurt, or tears to weep, just gentle rhythm deep. We offer up our two hands, Lord, to build upon your word. We'll plant a seed on bended knee in honor of thee. Jesus, seed of hope, planted on this fragile earth, your branches strong to shelter me, oh ever-present Christmas tree.
Yeah. No, there's a bit at the bottom called the coda.
Help us make good choices, Lord, respecting Mother Earth. At Christmas time and all the year through, a gift of love for you.
Reimagining the Christmas tree. What do you think? Did it work? Not really, that's fine. Of course you're allowed to say not really. Not really. Because... Mhm. Well, maybe it was just a reflective moment. Yes. Oh, with the next one's got a bit more vim and vigour in it. That's why you have to actually prepare your streamers. Who's got a streamer? Yep, there we go. So how are you feeling about new music? I doubt that you'd go into a service with a whole stack of brand new songs. Yeah. My question for you is, what bumps you out of worship? Worship's going along and suddenly you go, oh, I'm not engaging now. What might it be? Yeah.
Dirges, like my husband calls them dirges, where there's a hymn played not well, too slow and dirge-like.
Okay.
He folds into himself physically if one of them is played.
So, yeah, we don't like slow music that sounds a bit dirge-like. That's what I'm hearing. What else?
I feel like I love to, if it's a new song, a really good, strong lead that knows it really well to follow. So I can choose to opt in or out or hide, but otherwise, because out of respect to everyone else there, I feel reticent to sing loud unless I know I'm on key and I know what's coming next, because I don't want to throw people off. So for me, that strongly affects me opting in and out.
Yeah, that's a really great segue, because I hate turning up to, that's a strong word, isn't it? I get very discouraged turning up to worship and I know none of the music. Anyone else feel that way? And I did that, and this is going out live, isn't it? I did that at the college. on Wednesday. I went to worship at the Theological College down at the Centre for Ministry. And I didn't know any of the songs. But what kept me there was the quality of the music that the words were written to and the way the music was played. In fact, I heard a bass note played that was my life, my love and my God. It was a single bass note. And, you know, so moments in music happen at extraordinary times, even when one feels like moving away from what's actually happening. So I think that's something really good to remember when we're talking about having people who don't normally come to our worship services in worship. Finding a way or offering them different ways of connecting with the service, I think is really important act of hospitality on our part. So the words we use, the music we use, the activities that we use, I think are really important, intergenerational activities, but not just intergenerational, but people with different learning styles. As I said before, some people need to move in worship. I can't stand still, I can't sit still. I like bopping along with those songs that do have a, beat to them, and I like being reflective. But there are different learning styles. So making sure that you think about that it's just not all the same, I think is a really helpful way of doing it. Now a song of celebration. This was it's called It's Christmas. It's again by David McGregor. And it's a song that the Clarence Uniting Church loved and had to have at the end of the service every single Christmas day. And because it's a celebration, we let people know that we're celebrating. All right? Who throws streamers in church? Who doesn't throw streamers in church? Gosh, have you got a streamer? Do you want to have a go? Pull the middle out. The trick is you pull the middle out before you throw. You don't do it from the outside. You pull the middle out. Of course, this song rocks. And this song reminds us that Jesus is the reason for the season, that Christmas is about Jesus. So for visitors, this is about what we believe. All right? Yes, with the introduction, please. It's Christmas doing well. It's Christmas time. We're finished now. All right, sit down. That's a really good example of not leading well. That's a really good example of not reading, of not leading well, because the writing on my music's too small and I can't read it. I apologise. Yeah, 4, so it can actually go faster. Yeah, that one. So, as one by David McGregor. Where are my notes? What have I got here? Difficult finding a What I have to finish here is a really great song by the Strathty, songwriter, and it's called I Am the Light of the World. Probably just go straight into this. Well, I invite you to stand as you're able. I'd like an introduction, please, because I'm losing my voice now. If you might have talking about today. Yesterday, I have a lot of unaccompanied pieces that are repetitive, so people get to some of it more difficult, you know, one or the second last one or even that one, I take a lot more service. You know, at the end of every prayer, you can sing that as a prayer. Songs can be used different ways as liturgical responses to what's actually happening. If you've got can lead it, or even a group, a couple. But what I recommend is if you're going to do that and they don't feel very, have a sing through what you're actually doing.
So I'm like, and everything, yeah, it's a class. But gosh, we celebrated and joy was present in that building, and so for that reminder, and that's visual for me.
Yeah, and it would be a powerful visual, people who don't often come through okay people, you know, that we have a bit of fun every now and again. Well,
was mentioning doing it at, Rob was mentioning about doing it at Pentecost. You know, talk about the during the reading. You know, when they get to talk about the tongues of fire, and you know.
I notice that there are no red or orange or yellow streamers on your tables because they're put away for Pentecost. I use.
A bit distracting from the words of the song. So here we were mucking around, we all threw it, and then I went, and I went back to, what are we saying? What needs to be kind of a little bit further into the song maybe, and
yeah, happy to take that on. Yeah,
people, you know, like because they already know the chorus. Or
a lot of wisdom in the room.
I remember a colleague time getting an egg, and we had a room full of families and stuff, and he's threatening to crack eggs on people's heads. A lot of life, all know him, filled with glitter instead of. But it was that novelty. What's going? The kids, and they all laughed their heads off because there's a lot of suspense. He really G'd up like he was being a comedian. A bit like this.
That segues well into, I've got a question at the end. So if I can put the cat among pigeons, where the music, we need to be careful how we come into, and people don't sing anymore out in the real world. So we just have 2 verses. I just think it would be a really worship programs we're used to would adapt question.
Yeah, look, I think it's a really good question. I don't know response to that. I was on Facebook. I was having a Facebook where there were people, and then from there to 12 o'clock recovering. Being sensitive to who you actually have in the always know the people who mean to worship. So heads up. A couple of people, and you have people who are on the introverted side. Welcome to church, Merry Christmas, isn't it? So that sort of sensitivity is always really important, and that hospitality flows into our worship services. Think of everything we do in worship as an act of hospitality. Pentecost, and then we'll hear. I brought balloons. We have someone in the congregation who has a. Mel.
We've got one in Dubbo.
Yeah.
So, and we check if she's coming to church because she's not a regular. So, yeah. I wanted to say I've done a lot of thinking around this for many, and you are not. And it's really important that you be you. You are bubbly at the door, you do that. And if you are introverted at the door, you do that. For Jesus is. Also, there's lots of resources out there, but one resource, Root, Google Roots, it talks about the, and if you can get, well, actually it can be hard. I know Dubbo cooked bread in the church, So definitely got the smell. And everybody, well, nearly everyone loved that. So you're not going to please everyone all the time. And I'm generation. I've also and easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're authentically caring and explaining what's happening, sometimes like how the passing of the piece started. Do you do that, Robert? It was really key to them staying healthy, that you didn't come to church with a sin. You cleared things up before you came to church because you were going to share whatever you had. I'm so glad.
Great.
Just building on what you said as well, I think sometimes as being of the person who is uncomfortable in service, connecting with, sometimes I know for staying, even though I know that made you uncomfortable, or thank you for, I'm glad you're here, but letting them know that you're aware that they were uncomfortable. So you're not just on thinking, actually acknowledging that discomfort, acknowledging that discomfort, people to feel, well, she noticed me, I'm, suffering sort of thing. And I think that helps. That's hospitality to me too, is to acknowledging that.
Yeah.
I think that made sense.
Reading a room. Yes. Reading the room. As a professor, one of the becomes the music, and then need to draw people in. And leadership, there's give and take through here, through.
Being affected by the fact that I'm delivering this wonderful message and you're sitting there, but sometimes need.
And sometimes they need to be stimulated in word for 10, 15, 20 minutes. So, yeah. Ideas to share? Well, thank you.
Hospitality,
Yep.
is somewhere. Catalyze people together is food and dance. If you look at the act of, if you're prepared to members of the congregation, but act of after partnership.
Oh, of course. Because worship's just not an hour on Sundays. Worship is the study on Tuesday night, down the street and talking to people. Worship is going down the street and buying a cup of coffee. Definitely. Ask.
Thank you, Anne. Whether you take away tons of ideas or that's partly, that's what we're doing, is sort of giving us ideas to think about, to ponder. What might I do? I think the singing, there's lots of gems there about worship that we can, worth us pondering over and thinking in our setting. The only said that I've just locked myself out. And Zoom people know that it's very hard when you're not in the same space. I hope you through stream as your own that you've actually were able, you could at least sing as loud as you wanted to because you were there by yourself, but that enjoyable as well.
we only now have business without notice, and we've done a couple of the things. I don't think there's anything else. Bring up as sorry.
Letter is a little poster saying for the voice. Like we have a date for what can I have been referring people to the Australian Electoral as the no attached. People can go there with some kind of knowledge of what we as the uniting church in our congregations do is supported by the Assembly.
I think, and I'm to any go to our, there's certainly information on there. Nathan Tyson has certainly put some things around, and I'm happy to send some links around of things that he's sent me. So has working with that, but
Nathan has a cultural awareness Zoom thing, so 3 Zoom in, whoever wants to do it from Dublin, keen, share the Zoom. As a way of filling in some holes maybe we have in our. Then from there we need to go. So that's something that's synod, and he explains the voice really well. He was a lawyer. I think you don't not become a lawyer, but he's working for a church now. He has read through Yakka. You can ask him stuff and he actually knows the answer. And
are there any views of how people are in their congregation?
I would suggest if you voice and be public as well. So a lot of our are in fairly good spots of their towns, and they're great spots to do public theology. The church does, which is yes.
The assembly site surely has lots of resources. There's a number of being informative, but without pushing. Like while the church says that people will have a whole lot of different views, and it's not them to change, to stand and say we want to say.
Maligned social media is all through that, or Instagram, or all the other.
Alan. Oh, sorry, Daryl first.
I was just members of your congregations or communities who are happy to share personal family story about history. Really valuable. I'm writing about my own grandmother's story with people. But if you know to share their and about how this can things for them, they're really powerful. I think those are the stories.
Yeah,
over the morning tea table, there is an awful lot of misinformation out there. Voice, downright term for it. Make yourself aware what is being proposed, and voice will, and more importantly, will not be able to do. Centres around the office will be what to do, and it's just not true. Familiar with that in years, I think that's great.
Greg and then Bev.
Just following on from about the assembly site, there's some great resources for banners on the site that you can download, and you know it might be the only place in town where there's a visual sort of statement about this. I know we've ordered some. The idea is great, but so if you've got a fan in the main street, get a banner off the assembly, get it made up and hang it at the front. People stand.
If they're voting, do it at the church.
You can put it on the church. You vote in a hall. So if you're going to put the banner up,
Put it on your church. Yeah. Depending on how many metres you have or whatever.
Every right to put
Queen is dead. Good read, because realise we're a person of non-First Nations heritage generation. It just helps you realise where white privilege is coming from and how you don't know about Australia Day and other. Yeah, it's called the Queen. He said some of the why he was not the institution.
And there will be a hub. So there'll be a hub here as well. So if you don't want to travel all the way to Sydney, come to Orange. Deep, lots of things to come to grips with. We've been there. And remember, thank you for your time here today. Thank you for your commitment to our Presbytery and as a council of the church that makes a difference in our regional area and can continue to make a difference. People, how hard it is to sit all day at a Zoom meeting, and you've done very well. We haven't seen when you've been doing star jumps. Thank you for persisting being there. We'll give you a clap, a round of applause. Our meeting in just a moment of reflection, home, and a safe trip and good worship tomorrow. See you again at our Dubbo. Yes.
Behold, being with you and behold, behold, I am Christ the way.
Eunice often makes us a bit edgy. Sometimes the challenge and we just to what we know. Today is my first Presbytery Corey Darling, and it's been a meeting looking at that song. Does I make all things new, and that I am Christ the way, and that Christ's promise is true. I invite you to have learned today. And report back to your congregation. I hope you all do that. I hope you all jump up here and go, I was at Presbytery yesterday and this the prophet Isaiah. We remember the word said, all things God will make new. Remember that it begins with each one. We remember made true. And Christ is to know truth. All that we have been, and all that we now take away with us this day, that we may reflect and begin conversations about how God might be making new things in us, in our congregations, and in our presbytery. Let us remember during this green and growing season, as we await those new buds on the trees, or perhaps we're